boys and girls, students of Buddhist Sunday School, parents and grandparents, teachers of Buddhist Sunday School and Dhamma classes. Good morning. May you all be well, happy, peaceful, and healthy. Now, we are going to have a presentation particularly dedicated to the little ones, the students of the primary school, and the children in the Buddhist Sunday School, year 1 to year 6, and perhaps also some of the younger students in the Dhamma classes. Actually, anybody can watch this now because there are parents and grandparents who would like to learn about stories so that they can impart the stories as well as the Dhamma lessons to the younger ones. Now, this story is quite short, but it has important moral lessons. And I understand that this story actually has been drawn from the Aesop's fables. I think you are quite familiar with Aesop's fables. We have done quite a number of Aesop fables, right? One you can remember very well is the Lion and the Mouse, right? And many others that we have done, presented. Some of them are short, some longer a bit, but they all have moral lessons. And you know very well, like Aesop's fables, Jataka stories, all these actually are stories or legends or fables that are not really true according to our life, because you have in these stories, animals can talk, animals can communicate, converse with the humans. But what is important is the things that we can learn, are the things that we can learn from the stories, the moral lesson, the Dhamma teachings. So, after all, we are all throughout, when we were young, also read about Snow White, Cinderella, many fairy tales. They are all not true. Fairy tales, legends, like Bawang Putih, Bawang Merah, the legend of Masuri, and all those things. But yet we like to listen to them or read about them. And the important thing is we can learn and reflect on the life lessons or moral lessons or Dhamma teachings that these stories convey or impart. So that is this important thing. So for today's lesson, we are going to have just a very short story. After you'll see what that short story it is. And I've titled this A Short Story with Moral Lessons for the Young Ones. As I said, particularly directed or dedicated to the little ones, standard 1 to standard 6, and perhaps some preschool, kindergarten students also. So we bet anybody that wants to see. I understand from some of my former students who are adults, they also follow the Sunday school lessons because they want to reflect on the Dhamma teachings. So that is good. That's why I say, in a way, these stories, I also do a lot of reading on the children's stories and so on. One thing is to prepare for the lessons, but the other thing is I also want to reflect on the Dhamma lessons. Right. So the narration with the explanation will be in English. The texts are in English and Malay, right? So this will help some who are not so proficient in English to follow the storyline. Now, as usual, we are going to launch the PowerPoint, the slideshow from the beginning. And by the way, I have not explained the cover slide. Now here, the cover slide, you can see the title, A Short Story with Moral Lessons for the Young Ones. Cerita pendek dengan pengajaran moral untuk yang muda. And you can see here, the pictures I put have a bearing with the story, right? There's the character, the two main characters, the goat and the fox. Then I just put in a flying bird. So these are the main characters. These two characters basically only. It's a very simple story, but good moral lessons. So now let us launch the PowerPoint slideshow from the beginning. But before that, I think I can take off my video. And now let me launch the PowerPoint. All right, the slideshow from the beginning. Now you can see more clearly in a big screen, a short story with moral lessons for the young ones especially. And you can see, as I said, the two main characters. Right here, you can see the goat, and then here the fox, right? The fox. So now let us go on to the actual story. Starting with the title of the story. You haven't known the title of the story yet. All right. So that is slide number 2. That is the story. The Fox and the Goat, a moral story. Now, there are many, many good moral stories that teach us very important life lessons that will help us to live life more peacefully, happily, and we will not get into trouble so easily. Like Esop's Rivers have very important life lessons, just as Jataka stories. So that is the spirit of this storytelling. And this story, as I said, is titled Musang dan Kambing, sebuah kisah moral. Now you can say also a story that teaches life lessons. And it's very important that we have this life lessons, that we understand them clearly, what are the important principles of life, so that we can live more peacefully and we can solve problems better. We don't get into trouble with people. And when we develop the qualities as suggested in the stories, then people will like us. And we can relate better to all sorts of people in the family members, your classmates in school, your teachers, and all your friends all over. So you see how important it is to know, understand, and practice. If you just know and you can get an A for your political moral, but you don't practice, that's useless. The character doesn't change. And your conduct or behavior still as bad as ever. So it's useless, right? Even though you get A, whereas a person that puts these moral lessons into practice, wow, you see a transformation. That you become a more likable student. People relate well to you, your friends like you, your teachers like you, your family members also love you even more, isn't it? And there are many benefits. So actually, the very important thing in life is not so much how many A's you get, it's your character. A very good, exemplary character is what matters in the end. But today, sad to say, many don't realize this. They go for tuition, they study. What is the aim? To get A's. Why want to get A's? To get to the universities. Why want to get to university? Can get a good job, can get better pay, can become famous. But the problems of life are not solved. That's why today you find more and more problems affecting the young ones because they don't learn moral lessons or Dhamma teachings and understand them and put them into practice. At the same time, of course, you have to study so that you can, proceed with your education, get a good job. That's okay, it's fine. What I'm saying is not balanced. They don't study, learn, understand, and practice the Dharma lessons or life lessons or moral lessons, you can say. So now let us start the story already. By the way, the picture actually, as I say, shows the fox, the goat, right? These are animated images. And the well. The well is a perigi. Those days, they were not so lucky to have, like what we have, tap water, clean water. They have to rely on wells or maybe the rivers and the streams, right, to get the water. So you're stuck. But people seem to have less problems. You don't hear of so many crimes or social problems or suicides and all those things. Or, students even who are so stressed and they don't feel happy. Those days it was very carefree. You study, then you play, And then, we go out into the open nature and so on. So things have changed a lot. Today, too many kids have become addicted to smartphones, playing all those games, YouTube, and so on. To the extent that they have become addicted. It's not that you can't use them, but it has to be used wisely and under control. Right. Now let us go on to the story. Now we are at slide number 3 to tell you the story. Very simple words because this is dedicated to the primary children. One day, a fox fell into a well. He tried his level best to get out, but in vain. Now, let us explain a bit. Now, you can see the first picture, the fox, hot day, very thirsty, so trying to get some water. Right, in that area, you can say is maybe in India. So very, very hot sometimes, the animals and human beings also feel thirsty. So water is a very important commodity. So you must make sure you don't waste the water. It's terrible, isn't it? You can't get water to drink and die, of thirst. So this fox was wandering around, and then he came upon a well, He's probably near the village area, not far from the houses. So he wanted to get at the water. But human beings, they are smart. They have a bucket with a rope, and then to put the rope with the bucket down, and then to roll up the bucket, right? And then they can take the water. But these animals, they cannot. So probably the fox went to stand at the rim of the well, right? I mean the edge, having a look inside to see how deep the water is. And then, but he did not really think about the danger because the water is not really up to the top that you can reach. You have to go down. So he was thinking everything, and then, he was so thirsty, everything, and he fell. He fell into the well already. Wow, how to get up? Because he could drink a lot of water to drink. But you cannot stay in the well for a long time, no food, and then you might die. So he said, how to get out, man? Right? So he tried his level best, his very best. He tried, What did he do? He tried his very best, really. Jump and jump. How to jump against the water? You see, it's quite difficult. Probably he could swim a bit also, right? Anyway, he didn't die in the waters of the well, but not successful. He could not get out of the well despite all the training. That means he tried very hard, but in vain. In vain means useless, not successful. That's the meaning. So I put the pictures to, go with the words. So he was there in the well. Well, the well, maybe the water was not very deep actually, because he could sit there. Maybe he found a stone or a big stone or whatever lah. So here he was trying to jump up the well, but he could not succeed. So that is this situation. So now let us see what is going to happen. Let's go on to the next slide, number 4. This is number 4 now. Just now was number 3. So during the time when the fox was in the well, a thirsty goat passed by. Right? In the countryside, of course, you have all sorts of animals, but there were no other animals or human beings around. It is near the well. Probably people would fetch the water, when it was not so hot in the evening. So this probably might be midday or whatever lah. But anyway, there were no people around, but there was this passing goat. So the goat probably heard some sound. Maybe the fox also shouted, tolong, tolong, tolong. In a story, a fable, sang kacau story, and Aesop fable, animals can talk also, right? So tolong, tolong, please, please help me, help me. So then the goat was quite tall, right? So he did not have to climb over the thing. So he just stood nearby and peeped inside. That's what you could see here. He peeped into the well, and then he saw the fox inside the well, in the water. Oh yeah, there's a frog there. This just drawing. It could be but the frog can't help him to get out, isn't it? The frog maybe could make a big leap and get out, possible. But frogs can also survive in the water and then out on land. So what will happen? So now you may wonder, did the fox die? What happened to him? Was he saved? Right? So let us go on to slide number 5. So the goat asked, he was curious, what are you doing there, Mr. Fox? He didn't know that the fox actually fell in. Because he also realized, what is he doing there, he's not drinking water already, as he has drunk already, right? The water already. What are you doing there? So what will happen now? How is he going to answer? Right? So now you see the character of the fox, and in many of the Aesop fables, you find the bad guys or the bad animals seem to be the fox or the wolf, isn't it? Many of them I will come across. Even some country stories also. The good ones will be like the rabbit lah, the squirrel lah, the bird lah. No. But anyway, actually, among animals, among human beings, you have all sorts of beings. People also, you have good people and you have bad people. Animals also, you have very nice, gentle, very quiet. Quiet means very loving characters. And then you have also fierce ones, very naughty, not honest, cheating you, all sorts, same as the human realm in that sense. So, kambing itu bertanya, apa yang kamu lakukan di sana, EJ Fox? That is in Malay lah. So now let us go on to slide number 6 now. This fox, a very cunning fox. Cunning fox, he is smart, but cunning, but he doesn't have good moral values or virtues. No? You will see that at the end of the story. Right? So here, right, the fox, he started to tell lies. The water in this well is the finest in the whole country. That's why I came into the well to drink and rest. This is my addition, right? To drink and rest, and then after that, drink again, right? Before I go home. It's fantastic. The water is so fresh, so delicious. Water has no taste really. But probably use all the words to describe to tempt the goat. You don't believe me? You jump in and try it? Said the sly fox. Sly means cunning. Cunning is not a good word that describes a character. You are a cunning person. A cunning person has bad intentions in the mind. He wants to cheat you. He wants to lie to you to get some benefits. He makes use of you. He makes use of you to try to get some benefits. That's the sly person, sly animal also. Cunning, I can say. So now this goat was a simple goat, a bit naive, simple-minded, doesn't think well. So, very tempted. So let us go on to slide number 7. You can see the two pictures here. The fox is explaining to the goat about the water, the finest or the best in the whole country. And then after that, he was trying to ask the goat to jump in and try. See, here again, just talking to the goat. All these pictures are just I try to get as close as possible to the words, have a connection, so that it's easier to understand. Now let us go on to slide number 7 now, isn't it? Yeah, number 7. Now, this goat doesn't think, all right? Not thinking even for a second. Doesn't think at all. Immediately the goat jumped into the well, because she was tempted. Tempted to drink the water because already lured, right? Actually, persuaded by the fox already. And she also actually was thirsty, being a hot day. So she jumped down. That you can see, this one is on the verge of jumping down already. This one really jumped already. So now in the well, you have these two animals, the fox and the goat. The frog is there. We don't count that one. It's not in the story actually, right? So it's terrible, isn't it? Two animals really in a terrible situation, trapped in the well. But this fox was the cunning fox. He got plans to escape from the well. And later on, we'll look at the terrible character this fox has, and then we learn some moral lessons. So let us go on to number 8 now. So at first she didn't realize the danger or the trap or what we call the predicament, right? A terrible situation he was in. Then after that drinking already, then only she realized that she was as helpless as the fox. She couldn't come out. Then the ghost say, die lah, die lah. Die lah. How am I going to get out? How am I going to get out? Right? So you see, this goat did not think carefully before she just jumped in at the words of the fox. It's so dangerous, isn't it? Sama seperti musang, dia mendapati diri dia tidak berdaya untuk keluar. He cannot come out. So this picture show the thing. These two trapped in the well, and this one also in the well, just the inside. You must bear in mind, there's no way that they could climb the slippery wall, right? If you are a lizard, probably you could climb up. Or maybe, a reptile they could climb, but there's no way. So, I say, how? The ghost started crying, bleating. I cannot go home, right? I cannot go home to see my children. I cannot go home to see the members of my family. Complaining. But the fox, being very cunning, was thinking of a plan to take care of himself first. So let us see what is next now. Right. That is slide number 9 now. Now, slide number 9. So the fox said, yeah, we are all trapped inside the well. And if we don't get out, we can die after some time. There's no food. And if humans or people come around, they may catch us and slaughter us and cook curry. Or good, goat soup. I try to frighten the goat, all right? He say, yeah, we must get out. So then the goat was a simple one, not cunning, but just simple, honest person, simple-minded lah, but not smart enough, you see. So the fox said, don't worry, goat. I have an idea. Now what you do is this. You stand on your hind legs. Hind legs means the goat has, like all animals have 4 legs, right? The mammals have 4 legs. So you stand on your 2 legs against the wall, right? You put your 2 front legs on the walls of the well, and then you are balancing on your 2 back legs. Then what I'm going to do is, I can climb onto your back because, a person just acting like a ladder, right? You can imagine acting like a ladder. So I will climb onto your back. Then I will reach your head area. So now I'll be higher already, right? I'll be higher. So we're very near the edge of the wall. So I explain very clearly. Then I will manage to pop out of the well. That means to jump out of the well from there, from the top of your head, because you are quite tall, So, but not enough for you to, actually goats can't jump that high. Monkeys can, maybe. So, then once I get out already, then I will help you to come out. But he did not explain how. It's smart, right? But this goat was a simple-minded animal. So he thought, wow, very good idea. Excellent, she said, Excellent idea. Never thought of that. You're very smart, Mr. Pork. But actually, he's cunning. He's cunning, right? After you see the lessons, we can learn. So, then what happens next? Let us go on to slide number 10. And before that, you can just see the picture. So quite difficult to get the relevant picture. So this just talking to one another, the two animals, fox and the goat. The fox explaining the plan to the goat. And here also, to tell, then I'll get you up. So very assuring, So the goat trusted him, isn't it? Because the way he, there are people like this, very cunning. But then on the surface, you cannot know that there's actually some bad intention, right? He's not the type of person that you think he is. So anyway, let us go on to number 10 now. All right? So the goat, he did not think one, right? He should think and see, right? Is the fox telling the truth? Okay, suppose I do what he says, and then he gets out already. What happens if he doesn't help me? What happens if I'm still trapped there? How is he going to help me? So he doesn't ask all these questions, no. He just, without thinking only, just did as the fox, quietly did as the fox. What did he do? Right now, this picture shows quite well. He put the two forelegs, the front legs against the wall, right? And then he was standing, the goat was standing using the back legs. This picture is a very good one, right? Very clear, right? So it's like acting like a ladder. So then the fox, of course, the dimensions not very accurate. The fox was not that big compared to the goat, maybe. The goat much larger, should be. Then the fox climbed from the back, right? Climb up, reach the head, and then from there, very near the top already, then just make a leap, right? Jump off, right? He jumped off the well already, and then he started to walk away, And then only this goat realized, hey, Mr. Fox, where are you going? Huh? You said that you should be helping me. Now only he realized the danger that he's in now, Poor goat, right? Here also very two interesting pictures, right? So here you see that from the head, the fox managed to jump out into the rim, the edge of the wall already. And then after that, could go off. Then he started to walk away already, just slowly, maybe resting for a while first, But did not say anything yet, and did not show a sign of going to help the poor goat. So the goat was getting a bit frightened already. So the goat said, hey, Mr. Fox, what is next? You're supposed to help me to get up, I see that you are not doing anything. You are walking away like that. So the goat was screaming, very frightened. So now let us see what happens next now. So we go on to slide number 11. All right, slide number 11 now. All right, what is happening now? Let's go on. This is slide number 11. So while walking away, he was starting to walking away, so he turned his head to say the last words. Probably he started by saying, goodbye. Goodbye, Mr. Silly Goat. Oh, like that, no? You see, if you had as much sense as your beard, you would have been more cautious, careful about jumping in without making sure that you could get out again. Right? And so imagine this fox so terrible, right? That means the fox was just thinking of his own self, his own welfare. He didn't have any compassion or metta for other people. Really, very selfish, self-centered. In a way, cruel also. To leave the goat there to die. Then some of the fox make fun of the goat, He say, you have a beard. You have the beard. Actually, the people say have beard. Wow, very wise, right? Wise old man, white hair with a beard. So he was just saying, wow, if you have as much sense as your beard, he was just saying that, your beard should show that you are wise, right? But yet you are stupid, silly. Why did you jump without thinking of how you're going to get out? That's what I say. He said you would have been more careful if you were wise enough, as depicted by your beard. You're not careful. So it's bye-bye. Bye-bye now. So the goat cried. Too late already. So here you can see, right, the fox making fun of the goat, right? The goat actually was quite tall. Maybe in this picture, he showed that he could see. Probably he could not see this way. Probably the fox peeped inside again. But this time the fox very clever already. Just peeping inside. Right. So that's the end of the story. As all fables are like that. Right? So some students will ask, hey, teacher, what happened to the goat? So did the goat die? The fox, so bad. So what will happen to him? They'll ask all these questions. The story does not continue like that. But what is important, we are going to learn the Dhamma lessons from just this short story, right, with a hanging end. Of course, then after that, sometimes when I teach these children, right, in the Sunday school or even preschool, then when they ask this sort of question, I say, now you, who can suggest what will happen? So that encourages them to think and see whether they can think clearly. Then one, I saying that some are very smart. You can stand up and say, oh, teacher, this goat, meh, 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 right? You will make the sound meh, meh, meh. And then there were a few people coming. You have some people coming, maybe some teenage boys or what. And the goat so pitiful, meh, meh, meh. And so happened a kind boy came along, and he got the adults to help put a ladder there, and then went in to get out the goat. But he did not kill the goat, Wow, they can talk, some of this. And then they took the goat and then kept as a pet. And then the goats actually also later on, when it grew up more, or maybe it's already grown up, maybe you could give them milk or whatever, because it's a female goat, you see. So you say, so very good. Then I say, okay, who can say what will happen to the fox? Right? Then I say, fox bad. Fox very cunning. You're a bad fellow, bad character. One day something will happen to you. Then I say, what do you think will happen? He said, this fox make people suffer, and in a way can cause a person to die. So what happened was this fox went out to the jungle, and then the hunters came, the hunters came hunting for fox. And then one hunter used the spear and the bow and arrow, and he started to shoot. And the arrow shot at the fox, and the fox died. This is the way you can teach children to think, and then make the lesson more interesting. I say, okay, very good. You have suggested some very meaningful ending. So in this way, they learn Dhamma also, isn't it? Do bad, or your bad character, bad will happen to you. And you have not done anything wrong except, being a bit stupid, then you probably will not lose your life. You can be safe. So a lot of Dhamma can be taught in a very, very simple way to make the thing interesting. If you just tell the kids, you must help people, you must not kill, you must not this, blah, 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 it doesn't come alive. You tell the story with the graphics and then post the questions, and then you find you inculcate the values into the young people. These are for the teachers and the parents and so on, the points about teaching, the pedagogy, the methods. Okay, now we have to come to the last slide. Now, Of course, now, because this is a virtual thing, you can't ask questions, right? If it's the class, you could ask, right? But anyway, for those standard 6 and so on, who know how to use a smartphone to communicate standard 6 or even form 1, form 2, let's say, and you want to ask me, you can give me a call, right? You can check my name, and then the WhatsApp, you give me a call, and I say, hey, brother, the day you talk about the story of the goat and the fox, I want to know what happens really actually, then I can explain and so on. So this is the thing I can say to help, right? Or if you want to phone me also, okay. So now, let us now go on to the last slide, which is slide number 12. So it's a very short presentation, but a very meaningful one. Now, the last slide is always the most important slide because that's where we learn the Dhamma. And usually we title it as moral lessons to learn, or you can say life lessons to learn, or Dhamma lessons to learn. All those good lessons that you learn in order to help you to live a life that is more peaceful, more happy, and a life where you will get into trouble less often, right? You will sometimes still get some trouble, but then you will know better how to face these problems, right? And then also you grow in wisdom. You cultivate many good qualities. So many good qualities I have talked about in the various stories I presented: patience, diligence, hardworking, being mindful, being careful, right? Being helpful, all those values lah. So when you go over stories and think about them, and then you must understand their importance. That's where you have the story. The story will convey the importance, you see. So that is this very important point. You have to bear in mind why we learn moral lessons. Sad to say, I find many children and many students in the Form 1, Form 2, Form 3, they have a subject called Pendidikan moral education. They might have some stories also, right? But because it's an examination subject, so many students are just focusing on how to pass exams and to get the A's. So they forgot about the values. And the sad thing is, it's not really practical. So they have to study and they don't like it, have to memorize the values, and then all the academic things. So they may score A, but the character just is not good. There's no improvement in the character. You don't have good values being cultivated, and then good character traits being shown out in the person's conduct, to be more helpful, to be less selfish, to be kind-hearted. All those are hardly, shown out, through programs like Pendidikan Moral. Otherwise, how do you explain, since the Pendidikan was moral, was introduced, I think more than 20 years ago already, but then has our society of people become more moral, more kind, less social problems, less crime and so on? None, isn't it? It's not showing. In fact, it seems to be getting worse. More drug addicts, more rampant, and then people lie, people cheat, con people, goes right up to the adult stage. So it's not really achieve its objectives of producing a more moral society. Today, what are the important things they think in their minds? Money, wealth, more girlfriends or more boyfriends, big houses. So these things are all stuck in the minds, and they don't have the wisdom to know what are the good things they have to do and what are the things they have to avoid. So you have big problems like, drug addiction, rampant, right? And then also gangsterism, smoking, drinking, all these. So that goes to show is not really effective. That's what I view it. Whereas during our time when we were students, right from primary until even Form 6, we never had a subject of moral education where we had to sit for exams, But we had moral lessons, right, from the young primary, where we had good teachers, right? So the teachers would tell the stories, and then tell us the importance. And then another important aspect is you got to put into practice, even in the school days. That we go to royong projects, we have to learn how to, we have to help to sweep the classrooms, arrange the desks, many things, even sometimes wash the toilets of the school, and then to volunteer later on when we were, in maybe standard 6 or Form 1 onwards, we volunteer even to help in the library, to serve as librarians, and to serve in the various society. All sorts of things, naturally they come, and then also to practice dana. I remember during the time when we were in school, even from Form 1 onwards, there will be people from the Catholic Church coming with a donation box to collect some donations to help the poor ones. There are so many poor people around today also you have also. So somehow or other, because we had learned these moral values inculcated to us to help us everything. No need to study for the exam, but the things inside already. So I remember a few of my friends and me also included, we came from poor families. So we didn't have much pocket money. Those days, maybe 10 cents, 10 cents a day. But 10 cents could buy you certain type of food those days. Kacang or maybe a drink or so on, or kueh and all those things. Right? Goodbye. So that day, so we say, oh, now people need help. Now, we don't have to go to canteen today, right? So we put the 10 cents into the donation box. I remember the LaSalle donation box and all those stuff. Today, it's not so. Right? I find that in most cases, the children will demand for more and more money. More and more money, not to do dana or help people, no, to eat more. They want high-class things, burgers and all this stuff. So things have changed a lot. So it's my personal belief that moral education has to take a different direction. This is for the thought of maybe parents, grandparents, and also the teachers. Now let us look at the 3 lessons that I have I've chosen these 3 lessons. They have some bearing with this, the story, a connection. Might not be directly, but I'm going to try to link up the story with the Dhamma lessons or the life lessons. So let us look at the first one. The first one actually is based on that famous proverb, look before you leap. I'm sure many of you might have heard of it. Look before you leap. Now, actually, if you take it literally, it means, let's say, right, you want to jump into a pool of water to swim. You have to be careful. You have to look and see, right? Whether you have rocks around, you see, any dangers before you just simply plunge in. Your friends come, jump in. It's silly, isn't it? Or another concrete example, before you cross the road, this is the interpretation. Before you cross the road, you have to look carefully. Don't just take the action, one shot, cross and run across the road. You cannot, isn't it? So you have to look left, look right. Make sure everything clear, then only you cross the road, isn't it? No traffic lights that's signalling. So that's a very important lesson you have to know. And then be mindful. Be mindful means you always are aware. You know, right? You pay attention to all the things around you. And actually with mindfulness, not enough. You must have also the thinking, the wisdom part, right? Like, for example, the goat. I don't know whether the fella is mindful or not. If he's mindful, you'll know, the well, from the bottom to the from the waters to the top are quite high, So if I jump down already, then how am I going to get out? So not being mindful to look around and see first, and then also not being able to think wisely first, and then act already. Somebody say something, you believe it, you jump down already. And that's what happened to the goat. So we must always remember this in life. Think before we act. Don't act and then want to think. It will be too late already. Whatever we do, we must have a good thinking mind to think first. What happens if I do this, right? Let's say, I think I'll give this in the next slide or something like that. So always think before you act rather than act before you think. Too late already. Right? So it's a very important thing, the proverb of look before you leap. And mindfulness with wisdom, actually, the coming thinking. And in order to get all these things, of course, you can't blame the child because the child maybe was not taught at home. Parents are so busy, right? Some hold two jobs, to get more money to buy more cars or whatever, right? Or the parents themselves also are not aware of all this. How many parents actually also have the Dhamma? See, they don't have also, isn't it? And then also the parents also, last time also studied Pendidikan moral one, because it has been there 20, 30 years already. So they also came under the Pendidikan moral exam system, right? So the values are not really inculcated. I'm not meaning to criticize parents or what. I'm just saying that we have to be aware and meet our weaknesses and correct, isn't it? So, and the parents also themselves get addicted to the smartphones, chit-chat, play games, or some will go shopping, watch TV. How much time do they spend educating the young ones? I've heard of parents, the child is only about maybe 3 years old or 2 plus or that. So sometimes the child wants this and that. The parents are impatient, don't have the time. So we'll provide the problem with the mobile phone. So the child has become addicted to the mobile phone because and then they are quite fast in learning these sort of things. They use this to, to do things like watching all those exciting, violent cartoon series, or to see all those that titillate the senses. So do they learn the moral values and the moral lesson? You think they want to follow this presentation if the parents are not there to guide? So this becomes a vicious cycle. So these children will grow up. What sort of people they are going to be? This very materialistic, self-centered, not helpful, not kind. This is cause effect only. So you can see the dangers of an educational system that is moving in a not wise direction. So now they try to balance it, but it will take a long time. So this is the first lesson. Now let's look at the second one. This one also is shown in the story. There are many in the world who are dishonest, cunning, and cannot be trusted. They are out to cheat you. Be very heedful. Heedful means careful, cautious. That's the meaning of heedful. 小心. So, it's true, isn't it? You can hear in the news or read in the papers, or you hear the teachers telling, wow, so many people get cheated by the swindlers. So many people get robbed, mugged, all sorts of things. Even adults holding big positions like politicians are not honest, right? Cunning, cheat people like scandals, cheat people of their money, the taxpayers' money, and so on. And they say one thing very nice and that, but actually inside another story cannot be trusted. This happens in even the adult world. So this is shown clearly in the story, isn't it? The fox is that character, dishonest, lying, cunning, with not a good intention. The cunningness leads the fellow to plan a thing to benefit himself only. Of course, we have to benefit ourselves, but we must also think of others. But he has no intention at all of helping other people. There are so many things he could do, isn't it? The fox could maybe make some noise, even the wool or noise, then attract the people coming. So when the people come to the well, then he will run off into the forest. But then the people will come and they will do something for the goat, isn't it? He cannot do it, let's say. But no, it's just body. He somehow make fun of you stupid fella. You have the beard that's supposed to show wisdom, but where is that? You're worse than the beard. That sort of thing, Cunning. And they cannot be trusted. So you have to be very careful. So in the story, as you know, the fox bluff or told lies, isn't it? Suggesting a plan and then saying that when he gets up from the well, he gets out from the well, then he will help. It's not true. You didn't have the intention to help, so you cannot be trusted. So likewise, also you have to be very careful in the world. You find that some children get abducted. No? That's why I ask sometimes at preschool, I taught for 5 years or the preschool, 3 years old, 4 years old kids. So I ask, usually I have to use a Mandarin because English are quite poor. So I say, suppose, one day you are maybe in the play, outside the school or waiting for your parents to come or so like that. Then one guy comes along and say, little girl, how are you? Very nice, no. And then say, now, very good ice cream, everything, I want to take you there and buy for you. Then after that, I bring you back, all right? Because they give you a treat. You follow me, kind of, 可以, yeah. So you might some of the students say, 如果有这样的人，你要跟吗？ Yeah, 我要很喜欢吃 ice cream. You might imagine like that, then gone already lah. You follow that man, there's a bad guy, they will abduct and then a missing child. Whereas others quite smart, they have learned already. Say, 不要，我不认识他，我不要跟他. But this, they are one tempted by the ice cream or the chocolate and things like that. So you have to be very careful. There are many people who are dishonest, cunning, and cannot be trusted. You have to know the person. But sometimes in the family members, also, the relatives, some cannot be trusted. That's why you hear of cases, the uncles or the cousins and so on, more or less the young children also. Right? Molest them. They are the relatives, but yet. So you have to be very careful. These people want to please themselves, to satisfy themselves only. They're out to cheat you. So you need to be very, very heedful. Heedful means suggests carefulness, caution, very cautious, very careful. To always think, right? This person, can he be trusted? And then, of course, if you learn Dhamma, or even you learn, good books that tell you this, that the world is filled with a lot of people with these 3 mental poisons. What are the 3 mental poisons? Greed. And then the ill will, hatred, they don't show metta to you, right? Because maybe when they were young, something happened, so now they are full of anger towards other people, right? There are people like that. And then wanting power, right? And they want fame, right? So because of that, these bad forces, we call them bad things, drive them to do some of the terrible things. Why is there so much corruption, makan suap, in the world today? That's because of greed, basically, right? Cannot be contented. Some already have 1 million, but they want to have 2 millions. Actually, there were cases among the politicians and they passed away. Then they found out, wow, the place, so many houses, so much property, and so on. All the secrets all came out. So you find this is a very important aspect in the moral education I want to convey to you. Right? That's why there is a proverb, how many practice it? Honesty is the best policy. But today, not many would really practice it well, isn't it? So many lie, so many scam other people, con other people, cheat other people. And if you ask why, basically it's traced down to this greed, wanting this, wanting that. And they don't bother about, what would happen to the victims. Imagine if an old lady with some savings, maybe 70, 80,000, depend on that, the poor lady, maybe no children to support and so on, retired long ago. And then kena cheated by these bad hats, and she will be so sorrowful, will be suffering a lot, isn't it? Terrible. And then they can get into depression, that means sickness of the mind and so on. So don't you think that it's a terrible thing? But yet you have many people like that who are capable of doing violent things, aggression. You don't give the fellow the money, the fellow will cut your head, cut your neck, or cut one of your hands off. You have cases like that. So That's why I say that the pendidikan moral, has it really been successful? So this is what is going on in my mind. I taught for 2 years pendidikan moral in school, and I find that, a lot of academic things only. So whenever we have to give the test and record the marks and so on. But then during the test, I caught some of the students copying. Even the pendidikan moral, you have to teach them honesty, no cheating, and things like that. And they are copying for the test. So they learn this theoretically, but in the practice, it's not done. I found that for myself. So I realized that it's not been very, very successful. When I speak to many of my friends who are also retired many years already, in their 60s, 70s, and most of them also feel the same thing. I don't know. I never went through a system of moral education where I have to sit for exams. Well, of course, you have to sit for exam for the other usual subjects like English, maths, and then science, and geography, all those stuff. The one you quite understandable. You need the knowledge, all those things. Then you want to work next time. But this pendidikan moral is quite different. These are values, virtues that have to be inculcated in your heart and minds. So anyway, this is some comments. These are more for also the teachers and parents to reflect upon. Now let us go on to the last one. Those who lie, are selfish, and have no kindness or compassion for others will meet with dukkha finally. This is a very important Dhamma principle in Buddhism. It can sum up by saying that it's the law of karma. The law of karma is very, very simply put for young ones. Do good and good will come to you eventually. Do bad and bad will come to you eventually. As some of the students suggested, as I told you, they say this fox very bad. So he goes back to the jungle. The hunter will shoot the blood. Oh, not bad, you see. Cause effect is and this quote innocent, except that he is a bit stupid, right? Doesn't think. But he has not done anything bad to cheat people. He doesn't lie. He's honest, everything. So in the end, he was safe and he got a good life. Good point also. So you can see people who lie or something. Like the fox in this case, you see the fox definitely lie, isn't it? Not honest, selfish. Actually, he has in the mind all the intention of saving himself and don't bother about the goat. That right? Is he being kind to the goat? Is he being compassionate? No. Right? He's all the while thinking about himself. You don't bother. You don't care at all about what happens to the goat. You die lah. But you cannot escape the law of karma. So if you do a bad action out of selfishness, you are not kind, and you do terrible things like cheating, right? All these will have a price. You have a price to pay. I mean, look into the world today. You have many people like that, isn't it? Who don't show kindness. They only will tell you, hey, got money or not? No money, no talk. And then they are not willing to help or serve. That's why they were born as a human being. Maybe in the past life they did something good. But as a human being now, you are using up all your good blessings, your good karma. So when you don't do enough good this life, when the time comes for you to go, it means to die. All right? You have used up all your good karma already, no more karma, good karma already. So what happened? You will be reborn into a suffering state as a ghost or maybe as an animal. Ghost, isn't it? So now you see, it's very important to do all the good that you can. In terms of your mind, the mind, for example, think good thoughts, send metta to people, right? No thoughts of cruelty, of harming others, all good thoughts. That's the mind. Then the speech, you don't lie, you don't go and use very terrible words, bad words. I cannot say those bad words, harsh speech. Terrible, that hurt other people, scold people, abuse people, insult people. Terrible. And then you don't go and cucuk api, right? Like you tell this, hey, Ali, this Chong say something about you very bad one. And then you go and tell Chong, say that, Chong, Ali say very bad things about you, everything. All the slander and using malicious speech, right? Not true. So in the end, these two, from being friends, become enemies. That is a terrible, bad action. there will be a bad effect, bad karma. Or you talk gossip, all those nonsense things, spread rumors and all this stuff. So never do all these sort of things which are bad things. You have a price to pay. Even though you say, hey, I do all the bad things, still very good. I'm quite rich, everything. Yeah. But do you know what's going to happen when you grow older? Do you know what is going to happen when you die and then get reborn? The Buddhist teachings, Hinduism also, not only this life, we have future lives. So when you get reborn and you get reborn into a suffering state, very nice. So they never think about this sort of thing. So when you know all these things, you just do what the Buddha taught. Very simple, three things only. Do good. Don't do bad. And then make your mind develop, purify, so that your wisdom can grow. That one is the most difficult. And for that, you have to learn the Dhamma, understand, and then put into practice. Right? So now we have actually come to the end of this presentation, which has taken more than 1 hour already. So before we say sadhu 3 times, I would like to thank you all students, boys and girls, or members of the youth sections, and also parents, grandparents, and also the teachers of Buddhist Sunday School and Dhamma classes. I would like to say sadhu and thank you to all of you for taking time to follow this simple presentation, but very important Dhamma lessons. And you have spent, I'm appreciative that you follow, because and then you have spent time and effort to follow this. So to all of you, I say sadhu and thank you. So let us now put our palms together and then say sadhu 3 times. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Boys and girls, and all the students of Buddhist Sunday School, all students, all those who are watching the presentation, may you all be well, happy, peaceful, healthy, and may you continue to learn, understand, and practice the Dhamma. Take care.